The Jedi Temple rises against Coruscant's night sky like a monument to 1,000 generations of peace. Its 5 spires pierce the darkness, their silhouettes framed by distant fires burning in the Federal District. The Clone Wars have scarred the Republic capital, but the temple has remained untouched, a sanctuary of light in 3 years of galactic darkness. Until tonight. Anakin Skywalker, no, Darth Vader now, marches up the temple steps with the 501st Legion behind him. His eyes burn yellow with Sith corruption, twin suns of hatred reflecting the dark side that consumes him. His black robes billow in the wind, and beneath them his lightsaber waits, no longer the blue blade of a Jedi Knight, but red, crimson, the color of Sith and slaughter. Behind him, hundreds of clone troopers march in perfect formation. Their Phase 2 armor bears the distinctive blue markings of the 501st, Anakin's own unit, the men he's led through countless battles. Rex would have been among them, but Rex is on Mandalore with Ahsoka. These are different clones, loyal, obedient. Their inhibitor chips have activated, transforming brothers-in-arms into programmed executioners. Commander Appo walks beside Anakin, his helmet reflecting the temple's lights. See? 1119, recently promoted from sergeant to commander specifically for this operation. He knows what comes next. Order 66 has been issued. The Jedi are traitors. The temple must fall. Anakin reaches the top step. The temple doors stand before him, massive durasteel reinforced with ancient Jedi engineering, decorated with symbols from the Order's founding on Tython millennia ago. These are the same doors he walked through as a 9-year-old boy from Tatooine, wide-eyed and terrified, clutching Qui-Gon Jinn's robes. The same doors where Obi-Wan first taught him the Jedi Code. The same doors Ahsoka Tano walked through for the last time, leaving the Order and leaving him. His hand reaches for his lightsaber. Behind the doors, Jedi Master Jurok stands watch. The Temple Gate Master has been stationed here by Mace Windu and Shaak Ti to coordinate the temple's defense, should the unthinkable happen. Through security monitors, Jurok watches the 501st Legion assembling outside. His hand rests on his own lightsaber hilt. Something feels wrong. Deeply wrong. Anakin's fingers close around his weapon. Then the universe shatters. It hits him like a supernova detonating inside his skull. 20 years of memories that aren't his own, that shouldn't exist, flooding through every synapse with the crushing weight of lived experience. Mustafar. Lava flows, reflecting off a black mask. The smell of his own flesh burning. Obi-Wan's anguished scream echoing across volcanic rock. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. The agony of severed limbs. The heat scorching through skin until there's nothing left but charred meat and exposed bone. The medical droids hovering, Palpatine's voice cold and satisfied. You are Darth Vader. Rise. The suit. 23 years of breathing through a machine, in, out, the constant mechanical rhythm that becomes his heartbeat, the pressure of the armor against scar tissue that never fully heals, the itch he can never scratch because his skin is gone, replaced by synthetic nerve interfaces that transmit pain but never comfort, the weight of the helmet, the restricted vision, the prison he can never escape. Padme's funeral, her body on the funeral bier, still beautiful, still pregnant. The white gown flowing around her like she's sleeping, not dead. The flowers in her hands. Forget-me-nots from Naboo. The medical droid's report echoing in his mind. We don't know why. She's lost the will to live. And Palpatine's lie, the one he believes for decades. It seems in your anger you killed her. The children. Luke, Leia, his son and daughter, alive. Growing up without him. Luke on Tatooine with Owen and Beru, staring at twin suns and dreaming of something more. Leia on Alderaan with Bail Organa, learning politics and rebellion and strength, neither knowing their father is the monster-hunting Jedi across the galaxy, neither knowing he exists as anything but a cautionary tale. The hunting, face after face, name after name, Jedi he knew, Jedi he trained beside, Jedi who called him friend, running them down across the Outer Rim, igniting his red blade in dark corridors and abandoned temples, the fear in their eyes when they realize who's come for them, the pleas for mercy he never grants, the bodies left behind, hundreds, thousands, until the Jedi Order is nothing but ghosts and legends. The Emperor, serving Palpatine for 23 years, kneeling before him, calling him master, taking orders, crushing rebellions, enforcing tyranny, watching the Senate dissolve, watching democracy die, standing silent while Alderaan burns. 2 billion lives extinguished in an instant, including his daughter's adoptive parents, and never ever being strong enough to break free. The temple, this moment, tonight walking through these doors with murder in his heart. The younglings in the council chamber, their small faces looking up at him with trust. Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? His lightsaber igniting. Red light painting their features. Small bodies falling. The screams. The blood on his hands. The first step into darkness that consumes everything he ever was. The end. The second Death Star. Luke refusing to kill him. The Emperor's lightning. The choice to save his son. Throwing Palpatine down the reactor shaft. The mask coming off. Seeing Luke with his own eyes, blue, not yellow, not corrupted. Tell your sister you were right. Death. Finally, mercifully, death. 23 years of hell compressed into 3 seconds of real time. Anakin Skywalker drops to his knees at the top of the temple steps. His lightsaber, still unignited, falls from his hand and clatters against ancient stone. The yellow fades from his eyes like poison draining from a wound. Blue returns. Human blue. Terrified blue, he gasps, choking on air that suddenly feels too thick, too hot. His hands shake. His entire body convulses. Tears stream down his face, the first genuine tears he's cried since his mother died in his arms. Not the rage tears of the dark side, but the broken, helpless tears of a man confronting the full weight of his sins. No, he whispers. The word comes out strangled, desperate. No, no, no. Commander Appo stops mid-step. His helmet turns toward his general. General Skywalker, sir, are you all right? The other clones halt their march, uncertain. Their inhibitor chips command them to execute Order 66, to storm the temple and kill all Jedi. But their general, the man who led them through Christophsis and Teth and Ringo Vinda and 100 other battles, is on his knees, weeping. Anakin looks up at the temple doors. He sees his reflection in the polished durasteel, a ghost image of who he is right now, overlaid with the memory of who he becomes. The black armor, the mechanical breathing, the monster who murders children and serves tyranny and loses everything that ever mattered. I can't. I won't. His vision blurs. The memories are too vivid, too real. He remembers the youngling's screams. He remembers Padme dying. He remembers Luke's face on Bespin when he reveals the truth. No, I am your father. He remembers Obi-Wan leaving him to burn. All of it, every moment, every choice, every consequence. And he's here, now. At the exact moment it all begins. General? Appo's voice carries concern now, but also the mechanical edge of the inhibitor chip influencing his thoughts. General Skywalker, we have our orders. The Jedi are traitors to the Republic. We need to move. Anakin's hand finds his lightsaber. He lifts it slowly, staring at the weapon that has been his companion for 13 years. The weapon that should burn blue when ignited. He stands, his legs shaking but holding. Behind him, the 501st waits, hundreds of clones in disciplined formation, ready to follow him into the temple and slaughter everyone inside. Anakin turns to face them. His thumb finds the activation stud. He ignites his lightsaber. Blue, not red, blue. The color of Jedi Guardians, the color of protection and defense, the color Obi-Wan taught him to associate with the light side of the Force. The clones shift uncertainly. This isn't the red blade Lord Vader was supposed to carry. This is General Skywalker's weapon, the Jedi weapon. Brothers, Anakin says, his voice breaking on the word, I need you to listen to me. I know you've received orders. I know the chips in your brains are telling you the Jedi are traitors. But you need to fight it. You need to. The helmet tilts slightly, and when he speaks, his voice is different, flat, emotionless, programmed. General Anakin Skywalker, you are in violation of Order 66. Step aside or be designated hostile. Anakin's heart sinks. The chips. He knows about the inhibitor chips. Vader's memories include reports from Kamino, conversations with Palpatine about the biological control mechanisms implanted during the clone's embryonic development. Stage 3 inhibitor chips, disguised as tumor prevention nodes, programmed with contingency orders that override free will. Order 66, execute all Jedi. No exceptions. No hesitation. Appo, please. Anakin takes a step forward, his lightsaber still ignited but pointed at the ground. You've fought beside Jedi for 3 years. You know we're not traitors. The Chancellor, Palpatine, he's the traitor. He's Darth Sidious. He orchestrated this entire war to destroy the Jedi Order. Appo's rifle comes up, barrel aimed at Anakin's chest. Behind him, 200 clone troopers do the same. A wall of DC-15 blaster rifles, all targeting the man who led them through the Clone Wars. You have 5 seconds to stand down, Appo says. 5. The chips are controlling you. Anakin's voice rises with desperation. You're not choosing this. The implants in your brains. 4. Think about Rex. Think about Cody. Think about every time a Jedi saved your life. His men, they saved him on Lola Sayu. They followed him into the Citadel. They trusted him with their lives, and he trusted them with his. But the chips won't let them stop. Vader's memories are crystal clear on this. Once Order 66 activates, the clones become programmed weapons. Some fight it. Rex managed to resist long enough to warn Ahsoka, but most don't. Can't. The biological override is too strong. 2. Behind the temple doors, Jurok watches through security monitors. He sees Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight, hero of the Republic, standing at lightsaber point by his own troops. He sees the 501st Legion assembled for assault, and he activates the emergency protocols. Alarms begin to wail inside the temple. Red warning lights strobe through ancient corridors. Jedi throughout the massive complex look up from meditation, from training, from sleep. Shak-Ti senses the disturbance from her quarters in the council tower. Sin Dralig stops mid-lesson with his students Bene and Wymal Ro. Something is happening at the gates. 1. He shifts his stance. Form V, Gem So. The way of the Krayt Dragon, Obi-Wan always criticized it as too aggressive, too emotion-driven. But right now, Anakin needs aggression. He needs every ounce of power Vader's future combat experience can provide. I won't let you through, Anakin says quietly. I've seen what happens if I do. I've lived it. And I'm not letting that future happen. Commander Appo's helmet tilts fractionally. Fire. 200 blaster rifles discharge simultaneously. Anakin moves. His lightsaber becomes a blue blur, spinning in defensive patterns that Obi-Wan drilled into him for 13 years. Form 3 underlaying Form V. Soresu's defensive perfection channeled through Gem So's aggressive power. Every bolt that comes at him is deflected. Not back at the clones, never back at his brothers, but into the temple steps, into the walls, anywhere that won't kill the men he commanded. The air fills with the ozone smell of superheated plasma. Blaster bolts ricochet off stone, leaving scorch marks on surfaces that have stood for millennia. The sound is deafening. Continuous discharge, the snap hiss of lightsaber deflections, the whine of energy weapons cycling. Anakin retreats step by step up the temple stairs, his blade moving so fast it creates a wall of light between him and the 501st. But there are too many. Even with Vader's combat experience, even with the Force enhancing his speed beyond human limits, he's one man against hundreds. A bolt gets through. It grazes his left shoulder, burning through his black robes and searing flesh. The pain is sharp, immediate, nothing compared to Mustafar, but still agonizing. Another bolt burns across his ribs. Another clips his thigh. Anakin's defense is perfect, but perfection isn't enough. The clones are spreading out, flanking, taking positions where their overlapping fields of fire will overwhelm even Jedi reflexes. Commander Appo's voice cuts through the chaos. All units converge. General Skywalker has turned traitor to the Republic. Execute with extreme prejudice. The word hits Anakin like a physical blow. Traitor. The same word Palpatine will use to justify Order 66. The same word the Emperor uses to hunt Jedi across the galaxy. The same word that destroys the Order and creates the Empire. But he's not the traitor. Palpatine is. Anakin's blade moves faster, drawing on reserves of strength that shouldn't exist. The Force flows through him. Not the dark side rage that Vader uses, but something else. Desperation, love. The need to protect the temple, to save the younglings, to prevent the massacre he remembers with perfect clarity. His back hits the temple doors. The durasteel is cool against his shoulders. Behind this barrier, hundreds of Jedi sleep, unaware that their own army has come to kill them. Children in the dormitories, Padawans in training, masters in meditation, all of them trusting that the Republic they've served will protect them. Anakin pounds his fist against the door without looking, still deflecting blaster fire. Open the doors, seal the temple. The clones are compromised. Inside, Jirac hears the shout through the security monitors. He sees Anakin Skywalker, bleeding, desperate, fighting his own troops to protect the temple. This isn't the attack he expected. This is something else entirely. Jirac's hand hovers over the door controls. Opening them means exposing the temple, but leaving them closed means abandoning a Jedi Knight who's clearly trying to defend rather than attack. The Gate Master makes his decision. The massive temple doors begin to open. The gap widens slowly. These doors are designed to withstand orbital bombardment, which means they move with deliberate, ponderous weight. 1 meter. 2 meters. 3. Commander Appo sees it happening. Concentrate fire on the entrance. Don't let them seal it. The 501st redirects their fire. Blaster bolts hammer the opening doors, trying to damage the mechanism, trying to prevent the temple from sealing itself against the assault. Anakin spins through the widening gap, still deflecting, still protecting. A bolt catches him in the side. Another burns along his forearm. His robes are scorched and smoking, his flesh blistered, but he doesn't stop moving. "Close it," Anakin shouts. "Close the doors now." The Jedi Gate Master is older than Anakin, his face lined with decades of service, but his blade moves with practiced precision as he adds his defense to Anakin's. "Skywalker?" Jirac's voice carries confusion and alarm. "What's happening? Why are the clones?" "The inhibitor chips, they're programmed to kill all Jedi. We need to seal the temple before..." Shaak Ti materializes beside Jirac like a ghost of vengeance, her twin blue-green lightsabers igniting in perfect synchronization. The Togruta Jedi Master's Montrals sense the danger before her eyes confirm it. Hundreds of clone troopers firing on the temple, and Anakin Skywalker defending against them. "Protect the entrance." Shaak Ti's voice carries absolute authority. "All temple guards to the gates. This is not a drill." She doesn't question, doesn't hesitate. Her connection to the Force shows her the truth. Anakin's desperation is genuine, his terror real. Whatever's happening, he's not the enemy. 3 lightsabers now spin in the temple doorway, blue, green, and blue-green, creating a wall of light against the darkness outside. The clones' fire intensifies, but 3 Jedi Masters working in coordination can hold a defensive position that one alone cannot. "Fall back," Shaak Ti commands. Behind the doors, we seal and regroup. They retreat in unison, step by synchronized step, their blades never stopping. Anakin is last through, his back to his fellow Jedi, his eyes locked on the 501st. His men, his brothers, now trying to kill him. He sees Commander Appo raising his rifle for another shot. Sees the clone troopers advancing up the temple steps. Sees the beginning of the nightmare he lived for 23 years. "I'm sorry," Anakin whispers to them. "I'm so sorry." The temple doors slam shut with a sound like thunder. Massive durasteel blast doors, 3 meters thick, reinforced with cortosis ore and ancient Jedi alloys, seal the main entrance. Emergency protocols activate throughout the temple. Secondary entrances begin locking down. Blast shutters descend over windows. The entire complex transforms from sanctuary to fortress in seconds. Anakin collapses against the sealed doors, his lightsaber deactivating. Blood runs down his face from a graze along his temple. His robes are torn and burned. His entire body shakes from adrenaline crash and the weight of memories he can barely process. Shaak Ti and Jirac stand over him, lightsabers still ignited, uncertain whether he's friend or foe. "Explain," Shaak Ti says quietly. "Now, why are the clones attacking? Why did you defend the temple, and why?" Her eyes narrow. "Why can I sense darkness in you, Skywalker? You reek of the dark side." Anakin looks up at her. Tears stream down his face, mixing with blood and soot. "Because I fell," he says, his voice breaking. "I fell to the dark side. I became Darth Vader. I killed you. I killed everyone. And I've been living in hell for 23 years before the Force gave me one chance, just one, to make a different choice." Silence. Jirac and Shaak Ti exchange glances. Neither speaks. Outside the temple, Commander Appo activates his comlink. "Lord Sidious, we have a problem. General Skywalker has betrayed us. He's defending the temple, requesting immediate backup and further orders." Across Coruscant, in the Supreme Chancellor's Senate office, Palpatine feels the disturbance. His newest apprentice, his chosen instrument of Jedi destruction, has changed. The dark side that should be consuming him is flickering, unstable, fighting itself. Impossible. Palpatine's yellow eyes narrow. His hands clench into fists. And when he speaks into the comlink, his voice is cold with fury. Send everything, the entire Coruscant Guard, ATA walkers, gunships. I want that temple breached and every Jedi inside killed, and bring me Skywalker, alive if possible, dead if necessary. He cuts the connection and stands, staring out his window at the Jedi Temple's distant spires. "What have you done, my young apprentice?" he murmurs. "What have you done?" The temple's entrance hall is a monument to Jedi history. Soaring ceilings decorated with murals depicting the Order's founding. On Tython, calls carved from stone quarried on Ilum. Floors polished to mirror brightness by 1,000 generations of footsteps. Normally, it's a place of serenity. Tonight, it's a war room. Anakin kneels on the floor where he collapsed, blood dripping from his wounds onto stone that has never been stained by violence. Shaak Ti and Jiraak stand over him, lightsabers still ignited, their faces showing careful neutrality that barely masks deep alarm. Other Jedi are arriving now, temple guards in their distinctive masks and ceremonial armor, their yellow lightsaber pikes humming with readiness. Knights and Padawans drawn by the alarm, and from the depths of the temple, moving with deadly grace, comes Sindralig. The temple's battlemaster is a legend among Jedi, not for force sensitivity, which is merely average, but for pure martial skill. His mastery of all 7 lightsaber forms is absolute. His force speed is so refined he can become invisible to human eyes, and his dedication to protecting the temple is unshakable. Sindralig surveys the scene with a warrior's precision. Anakin Skywalker bleeding and broken, Shaak Ti and Jiraak in defensive stances, the sealed doors showing scorch marks from blaster fire, the alarm klaxons still wailing. "Report," Sin says quietly. His hand rests on his lightsaber hilt, not threatening, but ready. Shaak Ti doesn't take her eyes off Anakin. The clones opened fire on him when he refused to enter the temple. He defended the entrance and warned us to seal it. He claims the clones are compromised, that something called Order 66 has activated. And he claims, Jiraak adds, his voice tight, that he fell to the dark side, that he became a Sith, and that he's somehow living through events that haven't happened yet. He moves closer to Anakin, studying him. The Battlemaster has trained thousands of Jedi in combat. He knows how to read body language, how to detect deception, how to sense genuine emotion versus manipulation. What he sees in Anakin Skywalker is terror, pure absolute soul-deep terror. "Look at me, Skywalker," Sin commands. Anakin raises his head. His eyes are bloodshot, still showing traces of yellow at the edges. The Sith corruption not fully purged. Tears continue streaming down his face. "Tell us what's happening, all of it. And if I sense even a hint of deception, I will cut you down where you kneel." Anakin takes a shaking breath. The words come out in a broken rush, tripping over each other, desperate to be spoken before he loses the courage. The Chancellor is Darth Sidious. He's been the Sith Lord the Council's been hunting for 13 years. He orchestrated the Clone Wars from both sides. He commissioned the clone army on Kamino and had inhibitor chips implanted in their brains during embryonic development. The chips contain contingency orders that override free will. Order 66 commands them to execute all Jedi. Sin's expression doesn't change. "How do you know this?" "Master Windu led a strike team to arrest Palpatine in his office tonight. He took Kit Fisto, Ajin Kolar, and Saesee Tien. Palpatine killed Kolar and Tin in the first 10 seconds. Fisto lasted maybe 20 seconds more. Mace got him to the window, had his lightsaber at Palpatine's throat. And his voice breaks completely. He has to force the next words out through sobs. I cut off Mace's hand. I saved Palpatine. I chose the dark side because I was terrified of losing Padme. I let the Chancellor kill Master Windu. And then I knelt. I became Darth Vader. Palpatine sent me here to kill everyone in the temple, to slaughter the younglings, to destroy the Order. Silence, absolute silence. Shaak Ti's montrals flatten against her head, a Togruta expression of shock. Jiraak's face goes white. Even Sindralig, who has seen battles across the galaxy, looks genuinely shaken. "Master Windu," Shaak Ti whispers. "Mace is, you killed him. Not yet. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. Tonight, he's probably on his way to the Chancellor's office right now with Fisto and the others. And when I get there, when the other me gets there, the one who doesn't have these memories, I'll betray him." Sindralig's hand tightens on his lightsaber. "You're confessing to a murder that hasn't occurred, How is this possible? I don't know. Anakin's hands shake. I was walking up the temple steps. I had my orders from Palpatine. I was Darth Vader, ready to kill everyone inside. And then the Force showed me. No, it didn't show me. It made me remember. 23 years, the suit, the respirator, serving the Emperor, hunting Jedi, watching Padme die, watching my children grow up without me, all of it. Every moment, every choice, every consequence. He looks up at them with desperate eyes. I've lived the future. I've been the monster. And when I reached the top of those steps, I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk through these doors with murder in my heart. Not again. Not after knowing what it costs. Sarah Keto arrives at the entrance hall, her former master Sin Dralig having summoned her through the Force. The newly knighted Jedi surveys the scene and immediately draws her lightsaber. Is it true, she asks? The clones are attacking? Warning lights flash as sensors detect ATT walker signatures approaching. 6-legged heavy assault vehicles with mass driver cannons capable of punching through durasteel. Sin Dralig makes a decision. The Battlemaster has survived as long as he has by trusting his instincts, and his instincts tell him that whatever else Anakin Skywalker might be, he's not lying about the immediate threat. Seal all temple entrances, Sin commands. All of them, main gates, landing platforms, maintenance shafts, everything. Full lockdown protocols. Deploy temple guards to every potential breach point. And someone get me a tactical readout of clone forces outside. Temple guards sprint to comply, their training taking over. Within minutes, the entire temple is transforming into a fortress. Blast shutters descending, security fields activating, automated defenses coming online. Shock T deactivates her lightsabers but doesn't sheathe them. If what you're saying is true, Skywalker, we need to verify it. We need to contact the council members off-world. We need to... You can't. Anakin's voice is hollow. Order 66 is already active. Right now, across the galaxy, clone commanders are executing their Jedi generals. Commander Cody is trying to kill Obi-Wan on Utapau. Commander Gree is trying to kill Yoda on Kashyyyk. Plo Koon's starfighter gets shot down over Cato Nimordia. Ki-Adi-Mundi gets gunned down by his own troops on Megiddo. They're all dying right now, while we're standing here. That's impossible, Jurok protests. The clones have fought beside us for 3 years. They're loyal, they're programmed. Anakin pulls himself to his feet, wincing at his wounds. The inhibitor chips override loyalty, override friendship, override everything except the Order itself. Some clones fight it. Rex managed to warn Ahsoka before the chip took full control, but most can't. The biological override is too strong. The Kaminoans designed it that way. Sin Dralig's tactical mind is already processing implications. If the entire clone army has turned against us, we're facing a galaxy-wide purge. Tens of thousands of Jedi in the field with no warning. This temple holds maybe 500 Jedi. Masters, knights, Padawans, younglings. We're a fraction of the Order's strength. The Order is already dead, Anakin says quietly. In the timeline I remember, only 100 Jedi survive the initial purge. The rest die in the first hours of Order 66. The temple falls tonight. The younglings are massacred, and the survivors spend the next 20 years being hunted across the outer rim by Vader, by me, until there's almost nothing left. Shaq T's face shows grief and rage fighting for dominance. Then we change it. If you've seen this future, we use that knowledge to prevent it. How? Anakin's laugh is bitter, broken. Palpatine controls the Senate. He controls the clone army. He controls the military. He spent 13 years positioning himself to win no matter what. Even if we kill him, and I don't know if we can, the damage is done. Order 66 is active. The Jedi across the galaxy are already dying. Then we save who we can. Sin Dralig's voice is iron. This temple. These Jedi. If the Order falls everywhere else, we make sure it survives here. An explosion rocks the temple. The main doors buckle slightly under sustained fire from an ATT's mass driver. Warning klaxons blare louder. Temple guards rush to reinforce the entrance with portable shield generators. Anakin closes his eyes, reaching out through the Force. The skill comes from Vader's memories, the ability to sense life and death across vast distances, honed through decades of hunting Jedi who tried to hide from him. He feels it, presences in the Force winking out like candles in a storm. On Megiddo, Ki-Adi-Mundi falls under sustained fire, his cone-headed silhouette collapsing into snow-stained red. On Felucia, Aayla Secura is betrayed by Commander Bly, shot in the back by men she called friends. On Cato Neimoidia, Plo Koon's starfighter explodes, the Keldor master given no chance to eject or defend himself. On Selu Kami, Stas Ali's speeder bike is blasted apart by clone troopers who served under her for 2 years. The deaths ripple through the Force like shock waves. Anakin gasps, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the slaughter, even knowing it was coming, even having lived through it before. Feeling it happen in real time is devastating. "They're dying," he whispers. "Just like I remember. Exactly like I remember." "How many?" she asks quietly. "Hundreds, maybe thousands by morning." The clones have perfect tactical positioning. They're fighting beside their generals when the Order activates. The Jedi never see it coming. Sin Dralig's jaw clenches. "And Master Windu? You said he went to arrest the Chancellor?" "Yes. With Fisto, Kolar, and Tien. They should be at the Senate office soon if they're not there already. And when they confront Palpatine, he'll reveal himself. He'll kill 3 of them in seconds. Mace will almost win. He's the only Jedi in the Order who can match Palpatine in combat. But then I arrive. The other me. The one who doesn't have these memories. And I choose wrong." He looks at them desperately. "We need to warn him. We need to contact Mace before he confronts Palpatine. Tell him not to trust me. Tell him that when I arrive, I'll betray him unless..." "Unless what?" Shaak Ti demands. "Unless you already knows. Unless you tell him what I am. What I almost became." Anakin takes a shuddering breath. "Mace can't trust me in that moment. The fear is too strong. The dark side is too close. Palpatine will offer to save Padme, and I'll be desperate enough to believe him. The only way to prevent it is if Mace knows the danger before I arrive." Sin Dralig moves to a wall-comm panel and activates it. "This is Battlemaster Dralig to all council members. Emergency priority. Respond immediately." Static. He tries again. "Master Windu, respond. Master Yoda, respond. Any council member, acknowledge." The communication channels that should connect to Jedi across the galaxy are silent or filled with screams and blaster fire. Shaak Ti tries her personal comlink, attempting to reach Mace Windu directly. It connects, but what comes through isn't Mace's voice. It's the sound of lightsaber combat, the snap hiss of blades meeting, the crackle of Force lightning, and Palpatine's voice rising above it all. "I am the Senate." "They're already there," Anakin says. "The confrontation has started, and the other me, I'm probably on my way right now." Late gunships join the assault, their mass driver cannons strafing the upper levels. The sound of the temple being torn apart is like the death scream of the Order itself. Sin Dralig looks at Anakin with eyes that have seen too much war. If Master Windu falls, the Council is leaderless. If Order 66 kills the Jedi in the field, we're the survivors. And if Palpatine controls the Republic, we're enemies of the state. "We're already enemies of the state," Anakin says. "The Republic is dead. It died the moment Palpatine activated Order 66. What comes next is the Empire. And it will hunt every Jedi who survives tonight for the next 20 years until there's almost nothing left." Shaak Ti's hands clench into fists. "Then we make our stand here. This temple has stood for 1,000 years. It doesn't fall tonight." Anakin shakes his head. "In my timeline, it burns. Palpatine sends me with the entire 501st. We breach the lower levels, we slaughter everyone we find. The younglings hide in the council chamber. I kill them personally. The temple falls, and the survivors scatter. That timeline," Sin Dralig says quietly, "includes you as the attacker, but you're here instead, defending. That changes everything." "Does it?" Anakin's voice is hollow. "Palpatine will just send more clones. The entire Coruscant Guard. Thousands of them. We're 500 Jedi against a planet-wide garrison. How long can we hold?" Shaak Ti ignites her lightsabers again. Long enough for Obi-Wan and Yoda to survive and return. Long enough to evacuate the younglings. Long enough to expose Palpatine to the galaxy. "We hold until hope arrives, Skywalker. That's what Jedi do." Another explosion rocks the temple. This time, the blast doors actually buckle inward. Durasteel groaning under stress it was never designed to withstand. Temple guards rush to reinforce the entrance. Portable shield generators hum to life, creating additional barriers. But everyone in the entrance hall can see the truth. The doors won't hold forever. Sin Dralig draws his lightsaber, a blue blade that has defended the temple for decades. "Skywalker, You know clone tactics better than anyone here. You commanded them. You fought beside them. If you've truly seen how they breached this temple in your timeline, use that knowledge to help us prevent it. Anakin closes his eyes, pulling on Vader's memories. The assault on the temple is burned into his mind with perfect clarity. Every route the 501st took, every defensive position the Jedi tried to hold, every moment of the massacre. They'll breach through the lower levels, he says slowly. The main entrance is too fortified, but the temple has maintenance shafts that connect to Coruscant's underlevels. The 501st will infiltrate through there while the main force keeps us focused on the frontal assault. They'll come up through the Padawan dormitories and the meditation chambers, and they won't stop killing until... He can't finish. The memory of younglings screaming is too vivid. Sin Dralig nods grimly. Then we seal those access points, now. Sarah, take 3 teams of temple guards and secure the lower levels. Collapse the maintenance shafts if you have to. Nothing gets through from below. Sarah Keto sprints toward the lower temple, her lightsaber already ignited. Shak T opens a comm channel to the temple's internal network. Her voice broadcasts to every chamber, every hall, every room where Jedi might be sleeping or meditating or training. All Jedi hear me. The temple is under attack by the clone army. This is not a drill. Order 66 has been activated. The clones have been programmed to execute all Jedi. We are in lockdown. All Padawans and younglings proceed to evacuation points. All knights and masters, defensive positions. We hold this temple. We protect our own. May the Force be with us all. The temple erupts into organized chaos. Younglings are herded toward the ancient evacuation tunnels that run beneath the temple, routes established millennia ago when the Order first settled on Coruscant. Padawans grab their lightsabers and join defensive formations. Masters take positions at key choke points, and Anakin Skywalker stands in the entrance hall, bleeding and broken, watching the Order scramble to survive the apocalypse he's already lived through. Sin Dralig approaches him. Can we win this? Anakin looks at the Battle Master, the Temple's greatest warrior, the man who has trained generations of Jedi in combat. Asking him if survival is possible? In my timeline? Anakin's voice is quiet. No, the temple falls. Almost everyone dies. The survivors go into hiding and spend 20 years running from the Empire. But in my timeline, I led the 501st through those doors. I was the weapon that destroyed the Order. He ignites his blue lightsaber. This time, I'm the shield. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to change everything. The temple's lower levels are a maze of corridors carved from bedrock when Coruscant was young. Ancient stone worn smooth by millennia of footsteps. Meditation chambers where Jedi have sought enlightenment since the Order's founding. Training halls where younglings learn to channel the Force. Tonight, these sacred spaces become a battlefield. Sarah Keto leads her teams through the depths with practiced efficiency. 3 squads of temple guards follow her, their yellow lightsaber pikes casting dancing shadows on walls decorated with murals depicting the Jedi's arrival on this world 4,000 years ago. Their masked faces show no emotion, but Sarah feels their tension through the Force. They reach the maintenance access shafts, massive durasteel tunnels that connect the temple's infrastructure to Coruscant's planet-wide utility network. These shafts carry power, water, waste processing. They're also potential invasion routes, which is exactly why Sin Dralig sent Sarah here. Seal them, she commands. All of them. I don't care if it cuts our power or water. Nothing gets through from below. The temple guards move to comply, placing shaped charges at strategic points. But before they can activate the explosives, one of the guards stiffens, his hand going to his helmet as if hearing something. Knight Keto, the guard says, his voice strained. I'm receiving orders. Good soldiers follow orders. Good soldiers. She blocks on pure instinct, her blue blade intercepting his yellow. The impact sends sparks cascading across ancient stone. She stares at him in shock through the crossed blades. What are you doing? His attack comes again, not the defensive forms temple guards are trained in, but aggressive. Killing strikes. Behind him, 2 more guards activate their weapons and turn on their companions. Order 66. The inhibitor chips activate even here, even in the temple guards who have spent years, sometimes decades, protecting this sacred place. The biological programming overrides loyalty, training, brotherhood. They become weapons with one directive: execute all Jedi. Sarah's blade spins in defensive patterns as 3 temple guards attack simultaneously. She's newly knighted, still learning to trust her instincts without her master Sindralig's guidance. But her training is solid, her connection to the Force strong, and she's fought in the Clone Wars long enough to know how to survive when outnumbered. "Stand down," she shouts, even knowing it's futile. "The chips are controlling you. You need to fight it." No response except more attacks. The yellow pikes come at her from 3 angles, forcing her back toward the maintenance shaft entrance. The other temple guards, the ones whose chips either haven't activated or who are somehow resisting, stand frozen in confusion. Their brothers are attacking a Jedi. This violates every principle the temple guards represent. They exist to protect the Order, not destroy it. One guard, his voice mechanical and flat, raises his pike toward his former companion. The Jedi are traitors to the Republic. Good soldiers follow orders. Her lightsaber flashes out in Form 2 precision, Makashi, the dueling form her master taught her for exactly this kind of close-quarters combat. She doesn't aim to kill. She aims to disarm, to disable, to stop the threat without taking lives. But the temple guards are trained warriors, and their pikes are designed to counter lightsaber techniques. The fight becomes a brutal dance of blue and yellow light in the cramped maintenance corridor. Sarah's comlink crackles. Sindralig's voice comes through, tight with urgency. "All teams, report status. Are you encountering resistance from temple guards?" "Yes," Sarah gasps between parries. "The chips are activating. Some guards are turning on us." Throughout the temple, the same scene plays out in different variations. Not all temple guards succumb. The inhibitor chips have variable effectiveness, and some individuals' biology or force connection allows them to resist. But enough turn that the defensive formations Sindralig organized begin to fracture from within. In the training halls, Padawan Wee Malrio and his companion Bene fight back-to-back against temple guards who moments ago were their protectors. The 2 students move with the coordination Sindralig drilled into them, their lightsabers weaving defensive patterns that hold off the assault but can't end it. In the meditation chambers, older Padawans form protective circles around younglings, their inexperienced blades struggling against the disciplined attacks of fully trained temple guards. And in the entrance hall, Anakin Skywalker feels it all through the Force. The temple tearing itself apart from within, exactly as he remembers. "It's happening," he whispers. Just like before, the guards are turning. Sindralig's face hardens. The battle master activates his comlink. All Jedi, the temple guards, have been compromised. Assume any masked guard is hostile unless they explicitly identify themselves. Defensive formations, protect the younglings, lethal force is authorized if necessary. Authorizing Jedi to kill temple guards, the very beings sworn to protect them. But Sin has commanded troops in war. He knows that hesitation kills, and right now, the Order's survival depends on ruthless efficiency. Shak T's montrals detect vibrations through the temple structure. Her species' natural echolocation gives her awareness beyond normal Jedi senses. And what she's sensing makes her blood run cold. "They're breaching from below," she says. Multiple points. Sarah's position in the maintenance shafts, the eastern meditation chambers, the Padawan dormitories. Exactly as Skywalker predicted. Anakin's eyes snap open. "The dormitories, that's where they go first in my timeline. The younglings are there, sleeping, defenseless." Sindralig is already moving. Jirok, hold this position. Reinforce the main doors. Shak T, coordinate the evacuation. Get the younglings to the tunnels beneath the temple. Skywalker, he turns to face Anakin. "You're with me. We're going to the dormitories." "I can't." Anakin's voice breaks. "In my timeline, I'm the one who kills them. I can't go there. I can't face them. What if You're not that person." Sin's voice is hard but not unkind. "You chose differently at the temple steps. You chose to defend instead of attack. Now choose again. Come with me and save the younglings, or stay here and let your fear win." Anakin looks at his hands that in another timeline are stained with the blood of children, hands that wielded a red lightsaber through the council chamber while small voices begged for mercy. He ignites his blue blade. "I'm with you." They run. The temple's corridors blur past as Sindralig and Anakin sprint toward the Padawan dormitories. The Battlemaster moves with force-enhanced speed that makes him nearly invisible, a technique he's perfected over decades of training. Anakin keeps pace using Vader's combat experience, his body remembering movements this younger form hasn't technically learned yet. They hear the blaster fire before they see it. The dormitory entrance is breached, the door blown inward by shaped charges. Through the opening, Clone troopers in the blue-marked armor of the 501st are advancing in precise formation. Their DC-15 rifles sweep the corridors, targeting anyone who moves. Inside the dormitories, chaos. Younglings, children between 5 and 12 years old, scramble from their beds, terrified and confused. Some of the older ones try to defend the younger, their training sabers ignited in shaking hands. But training sabers aren't real weapons. They can't deflect blaster bolts. They can't protect against soldiers programmed to show no mercy. A clone trooper raises his rifle toward a group of younglings huddled in a corner. Anakin's lightsaber flashes across the distance, thrown with force-enhanced precision. The blue blade spins end over end and severs the trooper's rifle in half. Before the weapon hits the ground, Anakin is there, recalling his lightsaber and igniting it in one smooth motion, his blade forming a barrier between the clones and the children. "Get behind me," he shouts to the younglings. Now, they scramble to obey, their small faces showing terror. Some recognize him, General Skywalker, the hero of the Republic, the Jedi who fought in the Clone Wars, but they don't understand why he's fighting clones instead of fighting with them. Sin Dralig enters the dormitory like a storm. His blue lightsaber moves so fast, it creates multiple afterimages. Form 3 defensive perfection layered over form-wide wide-sweeping strikes. He's not trying to kill. Despite the authorization he gave, the Battlemaster spent too many years teaching restraint to abandon it now. But he is disarming with brutal efficiency. Clone rifles are severed in half. Armor joints are struck with precision that disables without killing. The 501st troopers fall back under the assault, unable to land a shot on a target moving faster than their enhanced vision can track. But more clones are coming. The breach in the dormitory wall leads to maintenance corridors where an entire company of the 501st is advancing. And these aren't confused soldiers fighting reluctantly. The inhibitor chips have stripped away personality, hesitation, mercy. They're programmed weapons executing a directive. Anakin fights with a technique no Jedi his age should possess. Every strike is economical, every movement precise. He uses Form V Gemso, but tempered with Vader's understanding of how to maximize lethality while minimizing wasted motion. Against the clones, he's devastating. But he remembers these men, remembers their names, their jokes, their personalities before the chips activated. The trooper he just disarmed, that's CT-4375, who always complained about the rations on Christopsis. The one Sin is engaging, CT-0913, who saved Anakin's life during the Battle of Teth, his brothers, his men, trying to kill children because Palpatine's programming won't let them choose differently. Fall back, Sin commands. Get the younglings to the evacuation tunnels. I'll hold here. You can't hold alone, Anakin deflects 3 blaster bolts in rapid succession. There's too many. I'm the battlemaster of this temple. I've held against worse odds. Sin's blade moves in a blur, creating a wall of light that no blaster bolt can penetrate. Go, Skywalker. Save them. That's an order. In his timeline, Sin Dralig dies tonight, killed by Darth Vader's blade in the temple's security recordings that Obi-Wan watches with horror. Seeing the Battlemaster now fighting to protect younglings instead of being cut down by the man he trusted creates cognitive dissonance that nearly paralyzes Anakin. I said go. Sin's voice carries force weight that compels obedience. Anakin turns to the younglings, 23 of them, ranging from barely old enough to hold a lightsaber to pre-adolescents on the verge of Padawan selection. Their faces show terror, confusion, and desperate hope that someone will save them. In another timeline, Anakin Skywalker is that someone's nightmare. Tonight, he chooses to be their guardian. Follow me, he says, trying to gentle his voice despite the urgency. Stay close, don't run ahead, and trust me, I'm going to get you out of here. A small Twi'lek girl, maybe 7 years old, looks up at him with huge eyes. Master Skywalker, why are the clones trying to hurt us? Did we do something wrong? The question breaks something in Anakin's chest. He kneels despite the ongoing battle, despite the danger, and looks her in the eyes. No, you did nothing wrong. The clones are sick. Something was done to them that makes them think we're enemies. But I promise you, I will die before I let them hurt you. Do you understand? Good. Now run. All of you, follow the blue lights. They lead to the evacuation tunnels. I'll be right behind you. Their small feet pound against ancient stone as they flee towards safety. Anakin follows, his lightsaber spinning in continuous defensive patterns to intercept any blaster fire that comes their way. Behind them, Sindralig holds the breach alone. The Battlemaster's blade never stops moving, never slows, never falters. He's a legend made flesh-proof. The mastery of the lightsaber can overcome impossible odds. But even legends have limits. The 501st brings up a portable E-Web heavy blaster, a tripod-mounted weapon that fires bolts powerful enough to punch through durasteel. Sin sees it deploying, recognizes the threat, and makes a choice. He throws his lightsaber. The blue blade spins through the air and cuts the E-Web in half before the gunner can activate it. The weapon explodes, taking out 3 clone troopers and creating a momentary gap in their formation. Sin recalls his lightsaber and uses that gap to advance, not retreat. He cuts deeper into the clone formation, his blade moving so fast it creates a sphere of light around him. The clones fall back, unable to maintain their position against his assault. And then his comlink crackles. Shock T's voice, strained with effort. Sin, we're breached in the council spire. They're coming through the upper levels. I need you here. I'm holding the dormitories. Sin deflects a dozen bolts in the span of 2 seconds. The younglings are evacuating, but I need the Battlemaster here, now. We're facing ATT walkers with mass drivers aimed at the council chamber itself. Sin looks at the endless stream of clone troopers pouring through the breach, looks at the corridor where the younglings fled, looks at his blade, still humming with readiness. Then he makes the tactical decision, the strategic choice, the move that sacrifices the dormitories to save the council spire. Falling back, he says, into the comlink. Seal the dormitory section. Let them have it. We hold the core. He sprints from the dormitory with force-enhanced speed, leaving the 501st to claim empty rooms and abandoned corridors. The Battlemaster's pride stings. He's never abandoned a position in his life. But he's also never faced a scenario where holding one location means losing everything else. The clones surge into the dormitories and find them empty except for scattered belongings and the lingering scent of children's fear. Anakin leads the younglings through the temple's deepest corridors, routes carved into bedrock by the Order's founders, designed as evacuation paths in case of siege. The blue emergency lights guide them downward, deeper, away from the sounds of battle above. The Twi'lek girl stays close to Anakin, her small hand occasionally reaching out to touch his robe as if to confirm he's still there. Others follow in various states of terror, some crying, some silent with shock, some trying to be brave and failing. Master Skywalker, a human boy, maybe 9 years old, his voice shaking. Where are we going? To the old tunnels, Anakin says. They connect to Coruscant's underlevels. You'll be safe there until we can get you off planet. But what about you? What about the other masters? Are you coming with us? Anakin wants to say yes. Wants to flee with them to escape the temple and the war and the impossible weight of trying to prevent a future he's already lived. But Vader's memories show him what happens if he runs. The temple falls, the Order dies, and the younglings who survive tonight spend the next 20 years hiding in the dark while the Empire hunts them. I'm staying, he says quietly. I'm going to fight to give you time to escape. They reach the evacuation point, a vast underground chamber where the temple's foundation meets Coruscant's ancient bedrock. Here, multiple tunnels branch off in different directions, each leading to different sectors of the city's underlevels. Temple personnel have already begun gathering here, younglings from other dormitories, Padawans helping younger students, a handful of Jedi Knights coordinating the evacuation. And in the center of the chamber, organizing everything with calm efficiency, stands a Jedi Anakin recognizes from Sindralig's instructions, but has never met personally. A Keldor master named Terra Sinube, ancient and wise, leaning on a walking stick but radiating competence. Master Skywalker, Sinube's voice is gentle despite the chaos. I have the younglings, 23 from your group, 47 total gathered so far. The tunnels are prepared. We can begin the evacuation immediately. Where will you take them? Senator Organa has been contacted. He's arranging transport off Coruscant for any Jedi who reach him. The tunnels will take us to the industrial sector, away from the Senate district. From there, we disappear into the underlevels until rescue arrives. Anakin kneels before the younglings one more time. You're going with Master Sinube. He's going to keep you safe. Do everything he tells you. And remember, his voice breaks. Remember that the Jedi Order doesn't die tonight. You survive, you grow up, and someday you rebuild everything that's being torn apart right now. The Twi'lek girl throws her arms around his neck. Don't die, Master Skywalker. He hugs her back, feeling tears stream down his face. In another timeline, she's one of the children he murders. Her name is Mari. He remembers because Vader's memories include the guilt of every youngling killed, every innocent life destroyed. "I'll try," he whispers. "I promise, I'll try." He releases her and stands. Master Sinube nods to him with deep respect, the kind reserved for Jedi facing certain death to buy time for others. "May the Force be with you, young Skywalker." Anakin watches them disappear into the tunnels. 47 younglings escorted by masters and knights who will protect them with their lives. 47 children who in another timeline die tonight, now given a chance at survival because one man chose differently at the temple steps. He turns and sprints back toward the main temple levels. The sounds of battle are intensifying. Blaster fire, lightsabers, explosions. The unmistakable sound of the temple dying. When he reaches the main levels, he finds Shaak Ti coordinating defensive positions near the council chamber. The Togruta Master is everywhere at once, directing temple guards, reinforcing failing barricades, using the Force to collapse corridors behind retreating Jedi to slow the clone advance. She sees Anakin and her expression shifts to something like relief. The younglings? Safe, Master Sinube is evacuating them through the lower tunnels. They'll be off Coruscant within hours if Bail Organa comes through. He will. Shaak Ti deflects a blaster bolt that comes through a breach in the nearby wall. Bail has always been a friend to the Order. If anyone can get our children to safety, it's him. Another explosion rocks the temple. This one is close. Too close. The wall, 20 meters from their position, buckles inward, and through the gap pours a squad of clone shock troopers in the distinctive red armor of the Coruscant Guard. Anakin recognizes the tactical pattern immediately. They're flanking, coming through the meditation chambers to hit us from multiple directions. If they establish a crossfire here, we lose the council spire. Shaak Ti ignites both lightsabers. Then we don't let them establish it. No warning, no build-up, just sudden explosive movement that closes the distance between her and the shock troopers before they can properly aim. Her twin blades move in perfect synchronization. Form IV Ataru, the way of the hawkbat, acrobatic and aggressive, and utterly relentless. Anakin follows, his single blade weaving defensive patterns that complement her offense. They fight as a unit despite never having trained together, the Force synchronizing their movements with precision that makes them far more effective than two separate combatants. The shock troopers fall back under the assault. These are elite troops, better trained and better equipped than standard clones, but against two Jedi Masters fighting in perfect coordination, they're outmatched. Anakin's blade cuts through a trooper's rifle. Shaak Ti's kick sends another trooper crashing into his companions. Together they drive the shock troopers back through the breach, back into the meditation chambers, creating space for temple guards to seal the gap with portable barriers. "That won't hold long," Shaak Ti says, breathing hard. "They'll breach again within minutes. We're losing the temple section by section." "Where's Sin?" Anakin asks. "I left him holding the dormitories, but Sin is holding them with 20 temple guards and whatever Jedi he could gather." Anakin closes his eyes, reaching out through the Force. He feels Sin Dralig's presence in the spire, brilliant, focused, surrounded by darkness pressing in from all sides. The Battle Master is fighting a battle he can't win, holding a position that will eventually fall, buying time measured in minutes rather than hours. "We need to expose Palpatine," Anakin says suddenly. The galaxy doesn't know what's happening. They think this is a legitimate military operation against Jedi traitors. If we can broadcast the truth, show them that Palpatine is Darth Sidious, that Order 66 is Sith programming, maybe we can turn public opinion. Maybe we can stop the Senate from backing him. Shaak Ti's montrals flatten with skepticism. And how do we broadcast anything? The Temple's communication systems are designed for internal use and Jedi network communication. We don't have access to the HoloNet relays that would reach the entire galaxy. The Council Chamber does. Anakin's Vader memories provide the answer. After the Empire forms, Palpatine uses the Temple as a symbol of Jedi treachery. He broadcasts from the Council Chamber to show the galaxy the traitor's lair. The equipment is there, it's always been there. We just need to access it. The Council Chamber is in the Spire, where Sin is fighting, where the clones are concentrating their assault. Then we fight our way there. Anakin ignites his lightsaber. "I've lived the future where we lose. I know what happens when we hide, when we run, when we try to survive without fighting back. The Order dies slowly over 20 years. But if we expose Palpatine now, tonight, While the galaxy is watching Coruscant burn, maybe we change everything. Shak T studies him. You're asking me to abandon defensive positions to assault the most heavily contested section of the temple, to risk everything on a broadcast that might not work. I'm asking you to trust me, the way Sin trusted me when he sent me to save the younglings, the way Master Sinubu trusted me when he took those children into the tunnels. Anakin meets her eyes. I know I don't deserve that trust. I know what I almost did tonight, but I'm asking anyway. Temple guards rush past, reinforcing another breach. Somewhere above, an explosion sends vibrations through the ancient stone. The temple is dying around them. Shak T makes her decision. We'll need a strike team. Fast, efficient, capable of fighting through overwhelming opposition. I'll take my best temple guards, and whatever Jedi Knights can be spared from defensive positions. You'll lead because you know where the equipment is and how to operate it. What about the defensive perimeter? We seal the lower levels completely, abandon the dormitories, the meditation chambers, everything except the council spire and the main entrance. Concentrate all remaining forces into a core defensive position and hold there while we make the broadcast. It's brutal tactical calculus, sacrificing territory to concentrate strength. But it's also the only option that doesn't end with the temple falling room by room until nothing remains. Shak T activates her comlink to all Jedi in the temple. All personnel fall back to core positions, seal and abandon outer sections. We're concentrating defense at the council spire and main entrance. This is not a retreat, this is tactical consolidation. Hold the core, protect each other. May the Force be with us. The temple's defenders begin the fighting withdrawal. Jedi backing through corridors while maintaining defensive lines. Temple guards placing detonators to collapse passages behind them. Padawans helping wounded toward the safer intersections. Anakin and Shak T assemble their strike team. 7 temple guards whose chips never activated, or who successfully resisted them. 3 Jedi Knights hardened by Clone Wars combat. And Sarah Keto, who arrives bleeding from a dozen minor wounds, but alive and ready to fight. We're assaulting the council spire, Shak T explains, fighting through clone forces to reach the communication equipment. Skywalker will handle the broadcast. We provide security and hold the position long enough for his message to transmit across the holonet. Sarah looks at Anakin with something between suspicion and respect, and we're trusting him why. No offense, General, but you arrived tonight covered in darkness. How do we know this isn't another manipulation? You don't, Anakin says simply. You have to choose just like I chose at the temple steps. Just like Sin chose when he sent me to save the younglings. Trust is a choice. Make it. Sarah's hand tightens on her lightsaber hilt. Then she nods. I'm in. But if you betray us, I will cut you down myself. Fair enough. They move out as a unit. 12 warriors fighting through the temple they've sworn to defend, pushing toward the council spire through corridors choked with blaster fire and fallen bodies. Both clone and Jedi corpses litter the floor, evidence of how brutal the fighting has become. Anakin leads with Vader's tactical knowledge guiding every decision. He knows where the clones will establish firing positions, knows which corridors are death traps and which offer cover, knows exactly how the 501st fights because he trained them. Left corridor, he calls out. E-web emplacement at the junction. 3-man team with overlapping fields of fire. Shak T, can you collapse the ceiling on them? The Force flows through her, pressing against ancient stone that has stood for millennia. The ceiling groans, cracks, and collapses. Tons of rock crushing the E-web position and sealing that approach entirely. Through the meditation hall, Anakin continues. It's more exposed, but they won't expect us to use it. Fast movement, no stopping. Anyone who falls behind gets left behind. It's harsh. It's the kind of battlefield ruthlessness that Jedi normally avoid. But these aren't normal circumstances, and Anakin learned from Vader that sentiment gets people killed. They sprint through the meditation hall, a vast chamber lined with alcoves where Jedi have sought enlightenment for generations. Clone troopers are using those same alcoves as firing positions. The strike team takes casualties. 2 temple guards fall to concentrated fire, their bodies left behind as the rest push forward. Sarah Keto's blade intercepts a bolt meant for Anakin's head. Watch your 6, General. The circular tower rises above them, 5 levels of ancient architecture topped by the council chamber itself, and surrounding it, the 501st has established a siege position. 8 TE walkers with their mass drivers aimed at the tower's supports. Clone troopers in disciplined formations, portable shield generators creating defensive barriers. At the tower's entrance, Sin Dralig holds the line with 15 temple guards. The Battlemaster's blue blade never stops moving, creating a barrier of light that no clone can penetrate. His face shows exhaustion. Even force-enhanced endurance has limits, but his defense remains absolute. Anakin's strike team hits the siege from behind. The clones are focused forward, towards Sin's position. They don't expect assault from their rear. Shaak Ti's twin blades cut through their formation like scissors through cloth. Temple Guard's yellow pikes create overlapping fields of defense that make the clones' blaster fire ineffective. And Anakin fights with every ounce of Vader's rage, channeled through light-side discipline. He remembers these clones, remembers training them, and he uses that knowledge to dismantle them with brutal efficiency. Sin, Shaak Ti shouts over the chaos. We're breaking through, fall back into the tower. The Battlemaster risks a glance backward, sees the strike team carving through the siege, and makes the call. Temple Guards, withdraw. Into the spire, fighting retreat. Sin's defenders collapse inward through the tower entrance, while Shaak Ti's team holds the breach open. It's a perfectly executed tactical maneuver. Two forces coordinating without direct communication, trusting each other's competence. The last defender crosses the threshold. Anakin is last through, his lightsaber deflecting a final barrage of blaster fire before Temple Guards seal the entrance with emergency blast doors. They're inside the Council Spire, surrounded by enemies on all sides. But they're inside. Sin Dralig leans against a wall, breathing hard. Please tell me you have a plan. Expose Palpatine to the galaxy. Show them what Order 66 really is. Change the narrative before the Empire has a chance to solidify. And you know how to operate the HoloNet relay equipment? I remember. Anakin closes his eyes briefly. The Emperor used this same equipment to broadcast propaganda after the temple fell. I watched those broadcasts. I know how he accessed the systems. Sin pushes himself upright. Then we climb 5 levels, fighting clones on every floor, reaching the council chamber before they bring down this entire tower. Anakin points to an emergency shaft designed for rapid access during crises. We climb through maintenance passages fast and quiet. Leave defenders at each level to hold the stairs against pursuit. Last team reaches the council chamber, makes the broadcast. It's also a death sentence for anyone left behind to hold the stairs. Sarah Keto volunteers immediately. I'll hold the 2nd level. Master Dralig trained me to fight outnumbered. A Jedi Knight takes 5th level, all of them knowing they're choosing to die so others can complete the mission. Anakin wants to object, wants to say there's another way, but Vader's memories show him the truth. There is no clean solution, no tactic that saves everyone. Victory requires sacrifice. Make your stands count, Sin says quietly to the volunteers. Every minute you buy could change the galaxy. May the Force be with you. They ascend through the emergency shaft, a vertical tunnel barely wide enough for one person at a time. Behind them, the volunteers take their positions on each level, lightsabers ready, knowing the clones will come soon. Anakin climbs last, his mind racing. When they reach the council chamber, he'll have minutes, maybe seconds, to broadcast before the clones overwhelm their position. What does he say? How does he convince a galaxy to reject the Chancellor they've trusted for 13 years? He'll tell them the truth, all of it, no matter how it damns him. They reach the council chamber, the circular room at the spire's apex where the Jedi Council has guided the Order for generations. 12 seats arranged in a circle, each representing a master. The vast windows show Coruscant burning, fires throughout the Federal District, the city planet at war with itself, and in the center of the room the communication equipment that Palpatine will use to declare the Empire, the same equipment Vader watched him use countless times. Anakin approaches the console, his hands shaking. Behind him, Shaak Ti, Sin Dralig, and their remaining temple guards establish defensive positions at the chamber entrance. How long do you need? Sin asks. 5 minutes to configure the relay, then however long it takes to say what needs to be said. After that, the clones will breach this chamber whether we can hold them or not. Anakin's fingers fly across the controls. The HoloNet relay system is designed for Republic-wide broadcasting. Emergency alerts, Senate addresses, critical announcements. Activating it without proper authorization requires bypassing multiple security protocols. But Vader knew these systems. The Emperor taught him how to control information, how to manipulate the HoloNet, how to ensure only approved messages reached the public. Anakin uses that knowledge now to hack the very system Palpatine will employ. Irony sharp as a blade. The console lights up. Green indicators show successful relay connections across Coruscant, then spreading outward. Core worlds, inner rim, outer rim. The broadcast will reach every holoscreen, every datapad, every communications hub in the Republic. Billions will watch. Ready, Anakin says. Shakti nods. Then speak, and make it count. Anakin stands before the holocam. Behind him, the council chamber's windows frame Coruscant's burning skyline. He's covered in blood and soot, his robes torn, his face showing exhaustion and grief. He activates the broadcast. Across the galaxy, holofeeds interrupt normal programming. Senate proceedings pause as screens flicker to life. Clone commanders on distant battlefields see the image appear. Civilians in their homes stare at their displays in confusion. And Anakin Skywalker begins to speak. Anakin Skywalker stands before the holocam, and the galaxy watches. On Utapau, Obi-Wan Kenobi crouches in a cave where he's been hiding since Commander Cody tried to kill him. His comlink displays the broadcast, and he freezes at the sight of his former Padawan. On Kashyyyk, Yoda sits in meditation aboard Bail Organa's ship, recovering from the ambush that nearly killed him. His ancient eyes open as he senses the disturbance Anakin creates in the Force by speaking truth to power. On 1,000 battlefields across the Outer Rim, Jedi survivors huddle in darkness while clone troopers hunt them. They see the broadcast and dare to hope. In the Senate building, Palpatine feels it. The shift, the exposure, the unraveling of plans laid over decades. His yellow eyes narrow with rage as he watches his apprentice betray him in the most devastating way possible. And in the Jedi Temple's council chamber, surrounded by death and fire, Anakin speaks. My name is Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight, hero of the Republic, general of the Grand Army. His voice is steady despite the tremor in his hands. And I was sent to this temple tonight by Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to murder everyone inside. The words hit like seismic charges. Across the galaxy, beings stop mid-action. Senators gasp. Clone commanders freeze. Civilians stare in disbelief. The Chancellor, Sheev Palpatine, is Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith. He has orchestrated both sides of the Clone Wars. He created the Separatist crisis. He commissioned the clone army from Kamino. And tonight he activated Order 66, a directive hidden in inhibitor chips implanted in every clone trooper's brain during embryonic development. Anakin's eyes bore into the camera. These chips override free will. They transform loyal soldiers into programmed executioners. When Palpatine gave the order, every clone in the Grand Army turned on their Jedi commanders. Right now, across the galaxy, Jedi Masters who fought beside their troops for 3 years are being murdered by men they called brothers. On Megiddo, the few clones who managed to resist their chips long enough to question orders watch the broadcast and understand. Their horror is absolute. I know this because I've lived it. Anakin's voice breaks. The Force showed me the future, 23 years of it. I've seen what happens when Palpatine wins. The Republic becomes an empire. The Jedi Order is hunted to near extinction. Democracy dies. And he has to force the next words through tears. I become Darth Vader, Palpatine's apprentice, his enforcer, the monster who helps him consolidate power and crush any resistance. I've lived those 23 years. I remember every Jedi I hunted, every world I subjugated, every atrocity committed in the Emperor's name. In the Senate, Palpatine's face twists with fury. He activates his comlink to Commander Fox of the Coruscant Guard. Destroy that transmission, storm the temple immediately, kill everyone inside and shut down that broadcast. But Fox is across the city, and the broadcast continues. Tonight, I was supposed to lead the 501st Legion into this temple and massacre everyone inside. Younglings, Padawans, Masters, all of them. Palpatine told me it was necessary to save my wife, to prevent her death. And in the future, I remember, I believed him. I chose darkness because I was afraid of losing the woman I love. Anakin's hands clench into fists. But when I reached the temple steps, the Force gave me a choice. It showed me what I would become if I walked through those doors with murder in my heart. And I chose differently. I chose to defend the temple instead of attacking it. I chose light over darkness. And now I'm telling you, all of you watching, what that choice means. He gestures to the windows behind him, showing Coruscant burning. The temple is under siege. The clone army is trying to kill us. Order 66 is active across the galaxy, and Palpatine is consolidating power, while the Republic tears itself apart. But you need to know the truth. The Jedi are not traitors. We didn't stage a coup. We're victims of a Sith conspiracy that has manipulated galactic events for over a decade. On Kashyyyk, Yoda's comlink shows the broadcast. Bail Organa stands beside him, watching with growing horror. "My child," Yoda whispers to the image, "chosen this path you have. Heavy it will be, but necessary." Anakin continues. "Master Mace Windu went to arrest Palpatine tonight. He took Jedi Masters Kit Fisto, Ajan Kolar, and Saesee Tiin. I know, because I've seen the future, that Palpatine will kill 3 of them within seconds. Master Windu will almost succeed in stopping him, but I will arrive. The other version of me, the one who doesn't have these memories. And I will betray Master Windu because Palpatine promises to save my wife." His voice hardens. "If you're watching this, Mace, you need to know. Don't trust me when I arrive. The dark side is too strong. The fear is too overwhelming. Kill Palpatine before I get there. Execute him and end this." The Jedi Code says we don't execute prisoners, but the code was written for normal circumstances. This is war. This is survival. And if you hesitate, the Republic falls. In Palpatine's Senate office, that confrontation is already unfolding. Mace Windu stands with his purple lightsaber at the Chancellor's throat. Ajan Kolar and Saesee Tiin are dead on the floor, killed in the opening seconds exactly as Anakin predicted. Kit Fisto is wounded, struggling to rise. And Mace is hesitating. The Jedi Master's Vapad form channels darkness back at opponents, but it also tempts him toward the very aggression he's trying to defeat. Executing a helpless prisoner, even a Sith Lord, violates everything the Order represents. Palpatine sees that hesitation, exploits it. "You see, Master Windu, even now, you cannot do what's necessary. The Jedi's weakness." Mace's comlink activates. Anakin's broadcast plays through, the voice of his former student warning him of exactly this moment. "Don't trust me when I arrive. Kill Palpatine before I get there." Mace's eyes widen. He looks at Palpatine, at the Sith Lord's calculating expression, and understands. This is the trap. This is the moment where everything hinges on a single choice. The office door opens. Anakin Skywalker, the other Anakin, the one who doesn't remember the future, bursts in, his face twisted with fear and desperation. "Master Windu, you can't kill him. He knows how to save Padme. He can teach me to..." His purple blade sweeps across Palpatine's throat before the Sith Lord can react. The Chancellor's head separates from his body. Dark side energy explodes outward in a shockwave that throws everyone backward, but the damage is done. Darth Sidious is dead. The other Anakin, the one who just arrived, screams. "No! What have you done?" "Padme will die now. You killed the only one who could save her." Mace struggles to his feet, his face grim. "Padme will live, Skywalker, because the medical droids on Polis Massa are perfectly capable of handling a difficult pregnancy. The Chancellor lied to you. He was never going to save her. He was going to ensure she died so you'd have nothing left but hate." The other Anakin falls to his knees, staring at Palpatine's corpse. The yellow is fading from his eyes. The dark side is losing its grip now that the Source is dead. In the Temple's council chamber, Anakin sees none of this. He doesn't know if Mace followed his advice, doesn't know if the other version of himself arrived too late. All he can do is continue the broadcast and hope it's enough. The inhibitor chips can be removed, Anakin says into the camera. Surgically, they're located in the cerebral cortex disguised as organic growths, but they're artificial. Kaminoan biotechnology designed to enslave the clones we created to fight our war. If you're a clone trooper watching this and you feel the chip compelling you to kill Jedi, fight it, resist it. Your brothers need you to remember who you really are. On battlefields across the galaxy, clones hear this. Some manage to resist long enough to lower their weapons. Others fight the programming with every ounce of willpower they possess. A few even succeed in warning their Jedi commanders before the chips fully activate. It's not enough to stop Order 66. But it's enough to save some lives. To the Senate, Anakin continues. To the senators who trusted Palpatine, who gave him emergency powers, who believed his promises of security and order, you were manipulated. The Separatist crisis was manufactured. The Clone Wars were orchestrated. Everything he told you was a lie designed to accumulate power and destroy the Jedi. Don't compound that mistake by supporting whatever government he tries to establish in the Republic's place. Behind Anakin, Shaak Ti's voice cuts through. They're breaching. Sin needs help at the entrance. Anakin doesn't turn from the camera. To the Jedi survivors, masters, knights, Padawans, don't come to the temple. It's a death trap. Go to ground. Hide, wait for the clones' chips to be removed, or for the political situation to stabilize. The Order survives if you survive. Don't throw your lives away on symbolic last stands. An explosion rocks the council chamber. The entrance doors buckle inward. Clone troopers are cutting through with plasma torches, seconds away from breaching. And to Obi-Wan Kenobi, wherever you are, I'm sorry for everything, for the mistakes I made, for the darkness I almost embraced, for cutting off Mace Windu's hand in a timeline I'm desperately trying to prevent. You were right about everything. The code, attachment, the danger of fear. You tried to teach me, and I was too arrogant to listen. The doors explode inward. Clone shock troopers pour through the breach. Sindralig meets them with his blue blade spinning in defensive perfection, but there are too many. I don't know if we'll survive tonight, Anakin says, his voice rising above the chaos. I don't know if this broadcast will change anything, but I need you to understand, all of you, that the Jedi Order didn't betray the Republic. We served it, we bled for it, and we're dying for it still. A blaster bolt burns past Anakin's head, close enough to singe his hair. He doesn't flinch. My name is Anakin Skywalker. I was supposed to become Darth Vader. I was supposed to help Palpatine destroy everything the Jedi represent. But I chose differently, and maybe, just maybe, that choice is enough to change the future. He reaches forward and cuts the transmission. The galaxy goes silent, processing what they just witnessed. And in the council chamber, the battle begins in earnest. Sindralig fights like a legend made flesh. His blue lightsaber moves so fast it creates aftermages. Form-wise, wide sweeping strikes transitioning seamlessly into Form 3's defensive perfection, then shifting to Form V's aggressive counters. He is the Temple's battle master, the greatest swordsman the Order has produced in generations, and he proves it by holding a doorway against 50 clone troopers. But even legends have limits. A blaster bolt gets through his defense, burning across his shoulder. Another grazes his thigh. He's fighting with injuries that would incapacitate a normal Jedi, sustained through pure force-enhanced endurance and decades of combat discipline. Shaak Ti fights beside him, her twin blue-green blades creating a whirlwind of light. Form IV Ataru, acrobatic and aggressive, exploiting the council chamber's high ceilings to attack from angles the clones can't easily cover. She leaps, spins, strikes from above, and retreats before return fire can pin her down. Temple guards form a defensive line behind the two masters, their yellow lightsaber pikes creating overlapping fields of protection. These are the last defenders, 15 warriors holding the council chamber against the entire Coruscant guard. Anakin deactivates the broadcast console and ignites his blue lightsaber. How long can we hold? Minutes, Sin gasps between deflections. Maybe less. They're bringing up heavy weapons. Once those deploy, an explosion cuts him off. The chamber's western window shatters as a late gunship positions itself outside. Its mass driver cannons aim directly into the room. The pilot's voice crackles over external speakers. Surrender immediately, or we open fire. Shaak Ti extends her hand, channeling the force into a massive push that catches the gunship and sends it spinning away from the window. The pilot struggles to regain control, buying them seconds. We need an exit strategy, she says. The broadcast is complete. Staying here accomplishes nothing except adding our deaths to tonight's toll. Where do we go? A temple guard asks. The temple is surrounded. Every exit is covered by clone forces. In the original timeline, Obi-Wan and Yoda infiltrated the temple after it fell by using a specific entrance, a maintenance shaft in the eastern foundation that connected to Coruscant's underlevels. The clones didn't know about it because it wasn't on standard temple schematics. The eastern maintenance shaft, Anakin says. It connects to the city's utility tunnels. We can escape through there. That's 5 levels down, and on the opposite side of the temple from our position, we'd have to fight through the entire clone occupation to reach it. Then we fight. Anakin's voice is hard. I've died once already, serving Palpatine for 23 years. I'm not dying tonight without taking as many of his puppets with me as possible. An alarm blares. The temple's structural integrity sensors detect catastrophic damage to the spire's foundation. The ATT walkers have been hammering the supports with mass drivers, and the ancient stonework is finally giving way. The tower is collapsing, a temple guard shouts. We need to evacuate now. Sindralig makes the tactical call. Everyone out! Down the emergency shaft. Move! They retreat from the council chamber in fighting formation. Temple guards providing cover while the Jedi Masters hold the rear. The clone troopers surge forward, trying to cut them off, but Sin's blade creates a barrier no ordinary soldier can penetrate. The emergency shaft is a vertical drop with ladder rungs built into the walls. In normal circumstances, Jedi would descend in controlled fashion. Tonight, they simply jump, using the Force to slow their fall, dropping 5 levels in seconds. Above them, the council spire groans. Stone cracks, support beams snap, and with a sound like the death of history itself, the entire tower collapses into rubble. Anakin looks up as they run, watching the spire fall. The council chamber, where he trained, where he was knighted, where the Order's wisest masters guided the galaxy, crumbles into dust and memory. In another timeline, this happened because of him. Tonight, it happens despite him. They emerge into the temple's main level to find it transformed into a war zone. The clone occupation has secured the outer chambers. Bodies lie scattered, both Jedi and clone troopers, evidence of desperate fighting. The beautiful murals are scorched by blaster fire. The ancient stone is cratered and broken. The eastern shaft, Sin reminds them, stay together. No one gets left behind. They move as a unit through corridors Anakin has walked for 13 years. Past the archives where Jocasta Nu taught him to research Jedi history, past training halls where he sparred with other Padawans, past meditation chambers where he sought connection with the Force. All of it burning, all of it dying. A squad of clone shock troopers rounds the corner ahead. Anakin doesn't wait for them to open fire. His lightsaber flashes out, thrown with Force-enhanced precision, spinning through the air to cut through their rifles before they can shoot. He recalls the blade and charges, his Form V gem so overwhelming their defensive positions in seconds. But these aren't the last clones. More are coming. Always more. There, Shakti points to an inconspicuous door marked with maintenance symbols. The eastern shaft entrance, they sprint for it. Temple guards deploy the last of their thermal detonators to collapse the corridor behind them, buying precious seconds. The door opens to reveal a narrow shaft descending into darkness. Down, Sin commands. Everyone down. They descend into Coruscant's underlevels, the ancient infrastructure beneath the temple, rarely visited, barely maintained. The shaft opens into a vast network of utility tunnels carrying power, water, waste. And somewhere in this labyrinth is the exit that leads to freedom. Anakin leads the way, using Vader's memories to navigate, left at the power junction, right at the water main, straight through the atmospheric processing hub. The path is burned into his mind from years of Empire service, studying temple schematics to ensure no Jedi could ever use this escape route again. Now he uses that knowledge to save the people he once hunted. They emerge from the utility tunnels into Coruscant's industrial underlevels, a region of factories and processing plants far from the gleaming towers of the Senate district. The air is thick with chemical smells. The lighting is dim, barely functional. This is where the city's poor live, where Republic prosperity never reaches. And standing in the shadows, waiting for them, is Bail Organa. The senator from Alderaan has repurposed a cargo freighter, a nondescript ship that won't attract attention. His protocol droid C-3PO stands beside him, looking agitated. Master Skywalker, C-3PO calls out. Oh my, you're injured. Senator Organa insisted we wait despite the danger. I told him it was inadvisable, but he, 3PO. Quiet, Bail says gently. He looks at the bedraggled group of Jedi emerging from the tunnels. I saw the broadcast. The whole galaxy saw it. And I'm here to get you off Coruscant before Palpatine's forces lock down the entire planet. Sindralig eyes the cargo freighter skeptically. That ship barely looks spaceworthy. Appearances are deceiving. It's my personal vessel, modified with military-grade shields and hyperdrive. It'll get you wherever you need to go. Where we need to go, Shock T says quietly, is anywhere the Empire won't think to look. If Palpatine consolidates power, he won't. Bail's voice is firm. Your broadcast changed everything. The Senate is in chaos. Half the senators are calling for Palpatine's arrest. The other half are demanding investigations into Order 66 and the inhibitor chips. Whatever plans he had for a smooth transition to Empire just became significantly more complicated. Anakin shakes his head. Mace Windu went to arrest him. Took Fisto, Kolar, and Tien if Palpatine killed them. He didn't. Bail's smile is grim. Or rather, he's dead. Master Windu executed him approximately 10 minutes ago. I have it on good authority from Senate Guard who witnessed the confrontation. Silence. Absolute silence. Sindralig finds his voice first. Palpatine is dead, decapitated. Master Windu acted on your warning from the broadcast. When the other version of you, Bail looks at Anakin, when you arrived trying to save the Chancellor, Windu had already killed him. The Sith Lord is gone. Anakin's legs give out. He collapses against the tunnel wall, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what just happened. Palpatine is dead. Darth Sidious is destroyed. The future he lived, 23 years of service to the Emperor, will never happen. And Order 66, Shaak Ti asks urgently. The clones across the galaxy, still active in many cases. The chips don't deactivate just because Palpatine died. But your broadcast spread the word about their existence. Clone commanders who managed to resist are ordering their troops to stand down for medical evaluation. Some are complying, others. Bail's expression darkens. Others are too deeply programmed. The fighting continues on some worlds. Then the Order is still dying, Sin says quietly. Yes, but dying is different than dead. We've had reports, fragmented, incomplete, of Jedi survivors across the Outer Rim. Masters going to ground, Padawans hiding, some even fighting back successfully once they understood what the chips were. Your broadcast saved lives, Skywalker. Maybe not enough. But some. A distant explosion echoes through the underlevels. The temple assault is still ongoing. Clone troopers probably just realizing their primary targets escaped. We need to leave, Bail says. Now, before they lock down the spaceports. The surviving Jedi board the cargo freighter. 15 temple guards, 3 Jedi Knights, Shaak Ti, Sindralig, Sarakito, and Anakin Skywalker, who started this night as Darth Vader and ended it as something else entirely. The ship lifts off, rising through Coruscant's atmospheric layers towards space. Through the viewport, Anakin watches the Jedi Temple burning. 5 spires that have stood for millennia now reduced to 4. The Council spire collapsed into rubble. But the temple still stands, damaged, diminished, but not destroyed. Just like the Order itself, the cargo freighter breaks atmosphere and jumps to hyperspace. Destination unknown. In the main hold, Jedi tend to their wounded using what medical supplies Bail Organa thought to pack. The atmosphere is heavy with exhaustion and grief. Anakin sits alone in the aft compartment, staring at his hands. These hands that in another timeline murdered younglings. These hands that served Palpatine for 23 years. These hands that are clean tonight because he chose differently. Obi-Wan Kenobi finds him there. Anakin looks up as his former master enters, and the emotions that crash through him are overwhelming. Relief, shame, gratitude, fear. Everything tangled together into something too complex to name. Master, Anakin whispers, you're alive. Obi-Wan sits beside him, moving carefully. He's injured. Blaster burns from when Commander Cody tried to kill him. Wounds hastily treated, but still painful. Bail picked me up on Utapau after I sent him a distress signal. I saw your broadcast, Anakin. The whole galaxy saw it. I didn't know if anyone would believe me. Some did, some didn't. But enough believed that Palpatine's plan for a smooth transition to Empire became impossible. The Senate is fractured, the military chain of command is confused, and the Jedi, Obi-Wan's voice becomes heavy. The Jedi are decimated but not destroyed. How many survived? We don't have full counts yet. Reports are still coming in from across the Outer Rim. But preliminary estimates suggest approximately 3,000 Jedi are confirmed dead or missing, which means roughly 7,000 survived the initial purge. Anakin does the math. In the original timeline, fewer than 100 Jedi survived Order 66. 7,000 is catastrophic, but it's not extinction. Because of the broadcast, Obi-Wan continues, because you warned them. Some Jedi managed to go to ground before their clone commanders could execute the order. Some clone commanders managed to resist their chips long enough to warn their generals. It's not enough. It will never be enough. But it's something. Master Windu killed Palpatine, Anakin says quietly, because I warned him not to trust me, because the broadcast told him what I was about to do. Yes, and the other version of you, the one who arrived at Palpatine's office without the future memories, is currently in Jedi custody under psychiatric observation. He's Not well. The shock of watching Mace execute the man he thought would save Padme, combined with the fading dark side corruption, has left him in a fragile state. Anakin's chest tightens. Is Padme? Senator Organa has her under protection. The pregnancy is proceeding normally. The medical droids see no complications. Obi-Wan's eyes are penetrating. Palpatine lied to you, Anakin. The visions of her dying, he sent them. Manipulated your fears. She was never in danger from childbirth. Only from the dark side's influence on you. I know. I remember. Vader's memories showed me that she died because I fell, not because of any medical complication. But knowing it intellectually and believing it emotionally are different things. They sit in silence for a moment. The ship's hyperdrive hums around them, carrying them away from Coruscant toward an uncertain future. What happens now? Anakin asks. Palpatine is dead, but Order 66 is still active. The temple is damaged. The Order is broken. What do? We rebuild. Obi-Wan's voice carries quiet determination. The Senate will need time to reorganize without Palpatine's manipulation. The clone army will need to have the inhibitor chips removed, a process that could take months across the entire galaxy. The Jedi will need to regroup, establish new leadership, figure out how to move forward after losing nearly a third of our number. And me? What happens to me? Obi-Wan looks at him carefully. That depends. You confess to helping Palpatine kill Mace Windu in a timeline that no longer exists. You admitted to falling to the dark side. You revealed knowledge of future events that should be impossible. The Council will need to decide what that means. I should be expelled, tried for treason, locked away where I can't hurt anyone. Perhaps. Or perhaps you should be recognized for what you actually did tonight. Defended the temple, saved the younglings, warned the Order, exposed Palpatine, and prevented your own fall. The Council will debate it. But Anakin, Obi-Wan's hand grips his shoulder. You're not Darth Vader. You chose differently. That matters. Does it? I still have all those memories. 23 years of atrocities. I still know what I'm capable of becoming. How do I live with that? Guard against it. Choose the light every day and every moment for the rest of your life. Obi-Wan's smile is sad. You've been given a terrible gift, Anakin. Knowledge of what you could become. Most beings never see their worst possible future. You've lived it, and now you have to figure out how to use that knowledge without being consumed by it. Shock T enters the compartment. Her montrals show signs of exhaustion, but her presence remains commanding. We're approaching the rendezvous point. Master Yoda is waiting aboard Senator Organa's diplomatic vessel. Yoda survived. Anakin's relief is profound. He sensed the betrayal before it happened, managed to kill Commander Gree and his troops, then escaped Kashyyyk with Wookiee assistance. He's been coordinating Jedi survivors across the Outer Rim. Shak T looks at Anakin. He wants to speak with you. About the future. About what you remember. Anakin stands, his body protesting the movement. Everything hurts. Burns from blaster grazes. Bruises from combat exhaustion from fighting all night. But pain is clarifying. Pain reminds him he's alive. They transfer to Bail Organa's diplomatic vessel, a sleek Corellian corvette called the Tantive 3. In the main conference room, Yoda waits. The diminutive Grand Master looks ancient and tired, but his eyes remain sharp. Skywalker, Yoda greets him. Saved the Order you did, changed the future, heavy burden this is. How carry it, will you? Anakin kneels before the Grand Master. I don't know, Master Yoda. I have memories of being Darth Vader for 23 years. Of serving the Emperor, of hunting Jedi across the galaxy. How do I separate who I am from who I could have been? Always in motion the future is. Yoda's gimmer stick taps against the floor. What you saw, what you lived, one possible path it was. Not certainty, not destiny. Chose differently at the temple steps you did, changed everything. But the memories remain, the knowledge of what I'm capable of. Yes, deny this you cannot. But define you, it need not. Yoda's eyes bore into Anakin's. The question not who were you, the question who will you choose to be now? Sin Dralig enters the conference room, followed by Shock T. Other Jedi begin filing in. Survivors from the temple, Jedi who escaped Order 66 on distant worlds, masters and knights gathering to determine the Order's future. The emergency council session convenes not in a formal chamber, but around a simple conference table on a diplomatic vessel fleeing Coruscant. Yoda presides. Shock T and Obi-Wan take seats as council members. Sindralig represents the temple's martial tradition, and other masters, those who survive tonight, fill the remaining positions. The first order of business, Anakin Skywalker's fate. Shaq T speaks first. He defended the temple when he could have destroyed it, saved the younglings when he was ordered to kill them, warned us about Order 66 and the inhibitor chips. Without his intervention, we'd all be dead. He also confessed to betraying Master Windu in a timeline that may or may not have occurred, counters a Jedi Master Anakin doesn't recognize, admitted to falling to the dark side. Knowledge of such darkness is dangerous. How do we know he won't fall again? We don't, Obi-Wan says quietly, but we never know with certainty that any Jedi won't fall. Anakin has seen his worst possible future and chose to prevent it. That shows strength, not weakness. Sindralig adds his voice. I fought beside him tonight. His technique was unusual. Too advanced for his age, too brutal for standard Jedi training. But he used it to protect, not destroy. Whatever knowledge he carries from this future memory, he wielded it in service of the light. Yoda taps his stick against the floor, calling for silence. Difficult question this is. Fall to darkness, Skywalker did. In another time, another possibility. But here, now, chose differently he did. Punish him for crimes uncommitted, shall we? Or recognize the strength needed to change fate itself. The debate continues for hours. Some council members argue for expulsion, citing the danger of Anakin's dark side knowledge. Others argue for clemency, recognizing his actions tonight saved thousands of lives. A few argue for something in between: probation, supervision, restrictions on his autonomy. Finally, Yoda calls for a vote. The decision is split, but ultimately comes down on Anakin's side. He will remain a Jedi Knight. But there are conditions. He must submit to regular psychiatric evaluation to ensure the Vader memories aren't corrupting him. He must work with the Council to document everything he remembers about the future, tactics, technology, political developments, so the Order can prevent those outcomes. He must accept that his relationship with Padme Amidala, now public knowledge due to the broadcast, means he cannot remain a traditional Jedi. He can serve the Order, but he cannot pretend to be celibate and detached while married and expecting children. Anakin accepts all conditions without argument. As the session concludes, Yoda approaches him. A question I have. These memories, 23 years of Vader's life, fade. Will they? Or remain forever? Anakin considers. The memories are still vivid, still overwhelming, but they do feel slightly less immediate than they did at the temple steps. Like they're beginning to integrate into his consciousness rather than drowning it. I don't know, Master. Right now, they're as real as my own life. But maybe they'll fade with time, become more like dreams than memories. Hope this I do. For your sake. Yoda's eyes are sad. Terrible burden to remember atrocities never committed, to carry guilt for sins not yours, but chosen to bear this burden you have. Use it wisely. 3 months after the Battle of Coruscant, as historians are already calling it, the galaxy remains in chaos. The Republic Senate struggles to reorganize without Palpatine's manipulation. The Separatist movement collapses without Sith coordination. And the Jedi Order works to rebuild after its worst catastrophe in 1,000 years. The temple on Coruscant is being repaired. The Council spire has been reconstructed, though it will take years to fully restore its former glory. The fallen Jedi, Masters, Knights, Padawans killed during Order 66, are honored in a memorial chamber where their names are inscribed in stone. Mace Windu's name is there, the Master of the Order, killed by Palpatine's Force lightning in the final moments of their confrontation. His sacrifice prevented the Empire. His death bought the Republic's survival. Anakin visits the memorial often. He stands before Mace's name and apologizes to a ghost from a timeline that never happened. The clone army is being systematically deprogrammed. Inhibitor chip removal has become a Republic-wide medical initiative, with Kaminoan scientists supervised by Jedi healers to ensure no further programming remains hidden. Some clones choose to remain in military service, others retire seeking civilian lives. A few, unable to cope with what they did under Order 66's influence, take their own lives. Commander Appa survived the temple assault. His chip was removed, and he woke to the memory of trying to kill the general he served for 3 years. He requested discharge from the military, and last anyone heard was working in a Coruscant factory trying to forget. The younglings evacuated from the temple are being raised in secret locations across the Outer Rim. Master Sinub oversees their education, helped by other surviving masters. They're being taught the Force, the code, the history of an order that almost died but chose to survive. And Anakin Skywalker stands in a medical facility on Polis Massa holding his newborn children, Luke and Leia. His son and daughter, born healthy despite the pregnancy occurring during war and chaos, and Padme's terror that Anakin might actually have fallen. He looks at their small faces, Luke with his father's features, Leia with her mother's determination already visible in her infant expressions, and feels the weight of two timelines crushing together. In one timeline, these children grow up without him, Luke hidden on Tatooine, Leia raised on Alderaan, neither knowing their father is alive until he's hunting them as enemies of the Empire. In this timeline, he's holding them, healthy, alive, present. Padme watches from the medical bed, exhausted from labor, but smiling. What are you thinking? All of this. I almost chose darkness because I was afraid of losing you, and that fear would have killed you more surely than any complication of childbirth. I had help. The Force showed me the consequences, made me live them. Anakin looks at her. I'm not a traditional Jedi anymore. The Council knows about us, about the marriage, about the children. They've made an exception because of what happened during Order 66, but I'm not the chosen one they expected. I'm something else now. What are you? A father, a husband, someone who's seen the worst he could become and spends every day trying to be better. He hands Luke to her, carefully supporting his son's head. The Council wants me to help rebuild, train the younglings who survived, share what I remember about future tactics and technology. But they also want me to stay away from active combat. They're concerned the Vader memories might resurface under stress. Are they right to be concerned? Anakin considers the question honestly. The memories are fading slightly, becoming more like history he studied rather than life he lived. But they're still there, still accessible, still whispering about power and efficiency and the dark side's seductive simplicity. Maybe. I don't know. I remember what it felt like to give in to rage, to stop fighting the darkness and just surrender to it. And some days when I'm tired or angry or afraid, I can feel that pull, like Vader's waiting in the back of my mind, ready to take over if I let my guard down. Padme reaches for his hand. Then don't let your guard down. Choose every day. Choose us, choose the light. And if you ever feel yourself slipping, tell someone, tell Obi-Wan, tell me, tell the Council. Don't fight it alone. I won't. He squeezes her hand gently. I've lived the future where I fight everything alone, where I isolate myself and drown in darkness because I'm too proud to ask for help. I'm not making that mistake again. Leia starts crying, a healthy, demanding wail that fills the medical facility. Anakin takes her from Padme and rocks her gently, using the Force to project calm and safety and love. She quiets, her small hand wrapping around his finger. And Anakin Skywalker, who was supposed to become Darth Vader, who lived 23 years of darkness before being given an impossible second chance, makes a promise to his daughter and to himself. He will be better, every day, every choice, for the rest of his life. The Force flows through him, and for the first time in 2 timelines, it feels like peace. 5 years after Order 66, the galaxy has found an uneasy stability. The Republic has reformed under new leadership. Bail Organa served as interim chancellor long enough to oversee democratic elections, then returned to representing Alderaan. The new government has implemented strict oversight of military forces and banned any biological programming of soldiers. The separatist worlds have been reintegrated through negotiation rather than conquest. Some grievances that sparked the Clone Wars are being addressed through political reform. Others remain unresolved, but managed through diplomacy. The clone army has been decommissioned. Those who chose military careers serve in a volunteer Republic defense force. The rest have built civilian lives, some successful, some struggling, all trying to move past what they were forced to do under Order 66. The Jedi Order has rebuilt, but changed. The Council acknowledges that their old ways, the strict prohibitions on attachment, the military leadership role, the isolation from civilian concerns, made them vulnerable to Sith manipulation. The new order is smaller, more flexible, more willing to admit uncertainty. And Anakin Skywalker teaches younglings in a rebuilt temple, showing them lightsaber forms while his own children play in the courtyard below. Luke and Leia are 5 years old now, both Force-sensitive, both showing different aspects of their father's power. Luke's quiet strength and empathy, Leia's fierce determination and leadership. They train as younglings like any other children their age, though everyone knows who they are. The man who prevented the Empire by choosing light over darkness, at the moment that mattered most. Obi-Wan visits often. He's a council member now, helping guide the Order through its transformation. He and Anakin have rebuilt their relationship, no longer master and Padawan, but equals, friends, brothers in a way the old code never quite allowed. "How are you today?" Obi-Wan asks during one visit. Anakin knows what the question really means. The council still worries about the Vader memories, about whether they're truly fading or simply dormant. He submits to regular evaluation, demonstrates his light side connection, proves repeatedly that he's not slipping. "I'm good," Anakin says honestly. "The memories are distant now. More like stories I heard than life I lived. They're still there if I reach for them, but I don't need to reach for them anymore. And the dark side? Still tempting sometimes. Anger, fear, the desire to protect my family so fiercely that I'd cross any line. But I recognize it now. I know where it leads, and I choose differently." They watch Luke and Leia playing, two children laughing in sunshine, growing up in peace, rather than hiding from an empire that never formed. "You know," Obi-Wan says quietly, "the prophecy said you would bring balance to the Force. We always assumed that meant destroying the Sith, but maybe it means something else. Carrying both light and dark, knowledge of both futures, and choosing light every day despite knowing how easy darkness could be. You've seen the worst possible outcome of the dark side. You lived it for 23 years. And you use that knowledge not to embrace darkness, but to avoid it. That's balance, Anakin, not destroying evil. Choosing good despite understanding evil intimately." Anakin considers this. The prophecy of the Chosen One has hung over him since he was 9 years old. Qui-Gon believed he would bring balance. The Council feared what that balance might cost. And in the end, he brought it through the most unexpected path possible. "Maybe you're right," Anakin says, "or maybe the Force just gave me a second chance and I'm trying not to waste it." Padme arrives at the temple courtyard with C-3PO in tow. She's serving in the Senate again, representing Naboo, fighting for democratic reforms, and clone rights. She sees Anakin and smiles, the smile of someone who knows exactly who she married, including the darkness he carries, and chooses him anyway. Luke runs to her. "Mama, watch me use the Force." He concentrates and a small stone lifts off the ground, wobbling but steady. Leia immediately tries to one-up him. "Watch me lift 2 stones." She manages it barely, her face scrunched with effort. Anakin watches his children compete at lifting rocks, his wife laughing at their antics, his best friend standing beside him in comfortable silence, and feels something he never felt in 23 years as Vader: contentment. Not happiness. The galaxy is still scarred by war. The Order is still rebuilding, and his memories of darkness ensure he'll never be entirely at peace. But contentment. The knowledge that he made the right choice, that the future he prevented was worse than the present he helped create. "Thank you," Anakin says quietly to Obi-Wan. "For what?" "For not giving up on me, in either timeline. I remember, Vader remembers, you leaving me on Mustafar, taking my lightsaber, telling me I was your brother and you loved me even as you walked away. You could have killed me then, ended it. But you didn't. I couldn't. And in this timeline, you believed me when I said I'd seen the future, trusted me when I warned about Palpatine, supported me when the Council debated my fate. You've saved me twice, Master. Once by refusing to kill me, once by refusing to abandon me." Obi-Wan's eyes are bright with emotion. "You're my brother, Anakin, in any timeline, in any future. That doesn't change." They stand together watching the younglings train, watching Luke and Leia play, watching the Jedi Order rebuild itself into something wiser and humbler and stronger than before. And in the Force, Anakin feels a presence. Not Vader, that dark future self slowly fading into memory, but something else, something ancient and knowing. The Force itself, perhaps, acknowledging his choice. "You have brought balance," the presence seems to whisper, "not through destroying darkness, but through choosing light when darkness would have been easier. This is the true path. This is the prophecy fulfilled." Anakin Skywalker closes his eyes and lets the Force flow through him. His name is Anakin Skywalker. He was supposed to become Darth Vader, Dark Lord, enforcer of tyranny, murderer of younglings. But he chose differently at the temple steps, and that choice saved the galaxy. The end.